Does every time Carlos Mendoza make changes to the Mets lineup equal the Mets getting red hot? Because we saw it last year when he moved Lindor all the way over to the one spot.
Carlos Mendoza does it again, puts Brandon Nimmo at the top of the lineup, Lindor 2, Soto 3. Brandon Nimmo hits a grand slam against Jacob Mizorowski on Wednesday, and he and Lindor go back to back. It seems like every time Carlos Mendoza puts his thumb on the lineup, the boys respond. They did it again. Carlos Mendoza, he does it again.
Welcome to Meet at the Apple, presented by PC Richard & Son. I'm Vito Calisi. That's Jonathan Barron. And a quick reminder, please like, subscribe to the podcast, leave us some reviews. Goes a really long way. I know there's more listeners and subscribers than there are reviews. Please leave those reviews.
What's the ratio in your opinion?
The ratio of
listeners to reviews.
It's like a 1% thing. There's 114 reviews, I think, at this moment. And we have a lot more subscribers than that. I can tell you that.
Come on, guys.
Please, it goes a long way.
Gals.
But, guys, some people mocked us.
Who mocked us, Vito?
Some people, I'm not going to say who, but some people mocked us for saying
Vito,
the Mets are back.
You're an industry plant hack. Get out of here. Nah, the
you
Mets,
know what? I want to say this.
Say it.
Hey, I've never been as complimented as being called an industry plant, so I'm going to take it in stride because I didn't know I was in a place in my career to be called an industry plant.
I don't think it was complimentary, but
beat me.
Yeah, I think that I have a different feeling after the conclusion of this Brewers series than I did the Braves series, because the Brewers were red hot coming into Citi Field. They had won 8 of their previous 10 games before coming to Citi Field, and the Mets saw 3 really good arms in that Brewer rotation. The Mets saw Freddie Peralta. They saw Jacob Mizorowski, who has all the fanfare surrounding him. And they saw Jose Quintana, who it was great to see Jose. We gave him a nice welcome back.
Miss you, buddy.
Before Game 2 on Wednesday night. And he's had a great season for the Brewers.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Mets fans obviously missing him. He was such an instrumental part for the Mets and their run down the stretch in 2024. But for the Mets to win the series against those 3 guys, and after losing the first game, obviously the first game gets rained out, which is a weird situation. First rain out we've had all year here, by the way. So it was a weird day, man.
Do you remember?
Don't remember what?
You said that to the live audience on Sunday.
Yeah.
You said we haven't had a postponement yet this year.
Trust me, if there's one thing that I am noticing of, it's our weather luck, because nothing beats a good old-fashioned rain delay. And, of course, the first home game we have, the sky was falling when the Mets came back home, right after the Pirates series, which, oh, by the way, I just have to point out, the Pittsburgh Pirates under Don Kelly, over 500, and they didn't allow a single GD run, you're welcome, to the Cardinals in that entire 3-game series they just played. Not one run. This is, baseball is you make your luck, but sometimes you're dealt a hand. The Mets got the Rays at a bad time. The Mets got the Braves. The Mets didn't get the Braves when they were 0-7 or 12 games under. They got them at a time where they were feeling themselves.
They got them when 2 of their 2 pitchers that just went down both went up against the Mets.
Right.
The Braves
in Atlanta, the Mets got the heart of their rotation.
The Braves altered their schedule. The Mets sacrificed Chris Sale to the gods to get a June win against us.
Well, that was a silly maneuver by Chris Sale, but sometimes it's about who you face and when you face them. And the Mets got the Pirates at a bad time, and the Pirates continue to stay hot. The Pirates have been one of the best teams in baseball, especially at run prevention. So the sky was falling. You come back. The sky literally falls on Tuesday night because it rains and you don't play. And then you get the doubleheader, and game 1 was not good. It was just, oh boy, that was not a good feeling at all. Freddie Peralta, Freddie Fastball did a good job. Remember, he hit the Mets back on opening day here at Citi Field 2024. And you go into game 2, and you're staring down the barrel of Jacob Mizorowski, who throws 101 with the nasty cut slider, whatever you want to call it. And the Mets are throwing a bullpen game, and you're like, I don't like this. And now we're sitting here on Thursday after the game. We're mere minutes away from July 4th. Happy 4th of July to everybody listening to this on Friday morning. Yankees coming to town, and the Mets take 2 of 3 in really staggering fashion because Carlos Mendoza, Vito, has done it again.
Yeah.
He made another tweak atop the lineup. He's not sitting on his hands. We talked to him back in May when he made the maneuver moving Soto from 2 to 3. Lindor in the leadoff spot was the move last year that got it all done. And, some people thought he would never undo that one, but he did. He moved Brandon Nimmo to the 1 spot, Lindor down to 2. On Thursday, it was Starling Marte who had 2 hits. And once again, Mendy makes a move, and it pays off, and it sparks the offense, and the Mets are sitting here entering the Subway Series. Just a few days ago, if we told people, hey, the Mets are going to be riding high entering the Subway Series, and it's the other team kind of licking their wounds entering Citi Field. You probably wouldn't believe that, but that's the situation that we're staring at right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm glad one team is hot going into the Subway Series because this was, for a few days, this was looking like it was going to be the most depressing Subway Series.
The memes, I mean, the memes are already great. The one of the two, the Battle of Mid. The Battle of Mid's a good one. I love the Battle of Mid.
Do you want to hear
They're having a mid-off.
If I said this, I said if one tweet I thought would have been funny was to take last year's JD Martinez quote after the team meeting if we suck, let's go suck together, and say both teams talking about the Subway Series this weekend. But fortunately for us, the Mets are hot going into the series, like you said.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, things are not looking good in the Bronx right now, but that doesn't mean you can take that for granted because any team can get hot at the right time, like we just said.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a tough weekend. I mean,
I mean, you look at who the Yankees are throwing. We just talked about, you catch a team at the right time, the wrong time. You're going to get Marcus Stroman on Friday, who, say what you want about Marcus Stroman.
If there's a guy who wants to win a game here this weekend, it's going to be Marcus Stroman.
He is a showman with obviously a lot of pride.
Is this his first start here since?
First start? I know he came back here as a Cub. I think it might be, honestly. I'd have to look, but I think it might be. So, I mean, like you said, if there's one guy who wants to come in and pitch a good game, it's Marcus Stroman. I think his second start since returning from the injured list. And he was on the shelf for a while. I think his last start before that was that game. It was like, I think April 11th against the Giants where he allowed 6 runs in the first inning, didn't get out of the inning, and he went on the injured list. And then Saturday's going to be Carlos Rodon. And Sunday is going to be Max Fried, who pitched really well against the Mets the Sunday night game back on May 18th. And Max Fried just had kind of a blow-up start for his standards. I think he allowed 4 runs in an inning, and he was one of the starters in the Yankees 4-game sweep in Toronto. And he doesn't usually have back-to-back bad games, and we know how effective Max Fried has been against the Mets in his career. He had 7 no-hit innings back here last May, I think it was, on a City Connect day, which, by the way, doing some thinking. And there's going to be a lot of gray on the field on Saturday, pending the City Connect jerseys.
That's a good point.
There's going to be a ton of gray. It's too much gray.
Which kind of sucks because, honestly, to what you saw tonight, white jersey giveaways really make that crowd pop.
Well, it's like a whiteout. The Winnipeg Jets. I'm sure you're familiar with the Winnipeg Jets.
You see it in the playoffs too. Like the Heat would do the whiteout too.
No, the Winnipeg Jets.
Okay.
Come on.
But like when you look out to the crowd on a white jersey giveaway night, you're like,
it's
this place
awesome.
Looks spectacular. And you're also like, do they give away more than 15,000? Like, you look at the field, you're like, this has got to be more than 15,000.
It might have been more than 15,000 tonight.
Because you look out there and you're like, that looks like more than 15. That looks like more than 1/3 of the attendance.
Yeah, I like back in 2019, the National Series, the Saturday game, Strasburg.
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
The Hawaiian shirts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Wilson Ramos just recently officially retired. And I saw a video, him and JD Davis hit back-to-back homers in that game. And I saw the Buffaloes homer, second deck at Citi Field, sold-out crowd. Man, those were such good days. I mean, these are great days too.
This is pretty good too.
But that was a fun time.
Dude, this has got to be the most crowded July game we've seen at Citi Field.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone earlier tonight, and the experience, dude, think about April 19th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. Remember that weekend against the Cardinals here?
Yes.
It was the first weekend. We opened up against the Jays here, and then it was the first weekend.
Right after the cold spell.
Yeah. And there were 40,000 people here. We had not seen that.
Yeah, trust me. I know very
well.
No
one was ready for it.
I know how crowded that Saturday
that's right.
was.
That's right. Did you?
Yeah, I said, yeah, I can trust. Yeah, I did all I had to do.
Yeah, you paid your debts?
I did.
Okay.
I settled myself, but.
Good to know. Good to know.
But
yeah, no, a lot of gray. I think that we gotta maybe forego the city. I don't know. It's just, you know what
you gotta talk to Nike.
You know what a grout fit is, right? No, I love the City Connects.
I do know what a grout fit is. You don't remember I famously wore one in spring training 2023.
Oh, that's right. When we went to the Liberty place. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of grout fits out there. I'm not a grout fit guy.
I need
a little color, a little pizzazz in my life.
I wore a grout fit with UGG slides, and I had to pay the bouncer to let me in.
How much did you pay that guy?
I think I gave him $10. I think in Port St. Lucie, $10 goes a much longer way than
Stewart. It was Stewart, Florida.
It was. We did go. No. That was in Public House.
I think it was Stewart or Jensen Beach.
Anyway, this is a
shout out Central Florida.
This is a fun pod. This is a slightly chaotic pod. And you know what? We were going to save this for the end, but I want to bring it up now. Everybody who came out to PC Richard in College Point on Sunday, you guys are awesome. We had a group of about like 35 people who came to PC Richard to watch the Mets play the Pirates.
Just in the middle of the store.
And the Mets were losing 5-0 right away, and they stayed throughout the entire game.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. We're going to do another one. We're still working on the event details, the location, the date, and all that. But shout out to all the fans that showed up. We hope to see more at the next one we do. But also want to shout out the people of PC Richard and Son because we really got a chance to meet them on Sunday, spend some time with them, and then we actually went to their headquarters, their Long Island headquarters in Farmingdale.
Right near Adventureland, which I was pretty hype about.
That's right, on Monday. And, obviously you guys listen, you guys watch. If you do watch, you hear the whistle. Obviously, it's presenting partner of the show, and we do the reads before and at the end. And it's not just a partner on paper, and it was really cool to get to know people and really learn about their business. They've been around since, you'll hear me say at the end of the show, since 1909. And Mr. Richard, PC, came over from Holland with literally like 2 nickels in his pocket and built his company from scratch, from the ground up. And they survived a whole lot of things, including COVID, which, PC Richard and Son, I know that they sell a lot of high-priced electronics. You could buy everything and anything there, but it's not a national brand. It's not, one of their competitors, not going to name their names because they're not worthy of naming names. But it really is great and awesome that this company, they really care about the customer, and we learned that. We saw it up front. We took a tour through the warehouse. They're getting there at 4 a.m. The operation starts.
They're plugging wires into the back of air conditioners and fridges and ovens before they ship it out to you, so you don't have to deal with it when it gets to you, which is pretty cool. And not to look, we don't want to go on for too long because we don't want you to think that this is like a paid read right now, because we're just genuinely talking about like this company that we're working with right now and we really like this relationship. But the coolest thing that I felt like we learned was PC Richard himself comes over in 1909, opens up this store in Bensonhurst, and one night in the middle of the night, he finds out that they're getting kicked out of the store in the middle of the winter. And him and his whole family, they live above the store. Their store's in the bottom. They have to find a new place to live and a new store to open. And then that day, Mr. Richard said, you know what? I'm never not owning my land again. And then from there, they started like buying the property where the PC Richard lies on. And McDonald's gets all this credit for like having this kind of same mentality. And PC Richard has been doing this since since the 1910s, 1920s. It's just like a really inspiring story. And like, it's crazy going to the warehouse, meeting Mr. Richard, Greg Richard, him talking about how important this company is to his grandfather, to him, like how much the brand means and how like the salespeople are everything that makes them click. It was incredible. So
yeah, they have over 60 locations right now. So, we say it all the time, but go check it out. Go to your local PC Richard and Son. We'll talk more about it at the end of the episode. But Vito, speaking of PC Richard and Son, as I get a call about the padlocks to the roof of the stadium,
about the fireworks. Hey, good job on the fireworks tonight, man. I know they almost didn't happen.
No, we were locked in the whole way. But anyway, the fireworks were fun, but they weren't one of the top 5 moments of the series. But it is time to, I think, do the top 5 moments of the series.
And now it's time to talk about the top 5 moments of Brewers Mets, presented by PC Richard and Son. Number 5. It's a hater moment. Number 5 is a hater moment. You're just sipping up that haterade. Number 5, Rhys Hoskins takes a home run and quickly turns that into a double play against David Peterson, the king of double plays.
Yeah, we don't like Rhys Hoskins around these parts whatsoever. That goes back to his time in Philadelphia, as Vito is demonstrating, but also his time
that was Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. Jacob Rame, and that was a couple years ago, but yeah, we're not big fans of Rhys Hoskins whatsoever. So like Vito mentioned, feet away from a home run, instead turns into a double play, and the Mets get out of that inning. Rhys Hoskins does really nothing in this series, and the Mets really do a great job because the Mets have had problems beating the Brewers in the regular season. Of course, we all remember what happened in the postseason, and that's all well and good. The number 4 moment, Mets and Brewers. Juan Soto on Juan Soto jersey night. He comes up with a huge go-ahead single. Juan Soto continues to be the goods since June 1st, OPSing over 1,100, on base percentage approaching 500. He is just that guy. Everything and more the Mets paid for. I continue to say it. Guy's underpaid when you think about it. He does everything. Excited to see him this week in our house for the Subway Series. Vito, what's the number 3? He's got props, ladies and gentlemen.
And the number 3 moment, you talked about Juan Soto jersey night, but Francisco Lindor jersey night hits a home run to really blow the doors off of game 2. Look, Francisco Lindor, it just always has a way to be a hero, always knows how to show up. And we kind of mentioned this last week that the effects of the toe you saw were affecting him, right? And then you saw the defense was the first thing to start to really get back on track. And now you've seen the offense really start to heat back up. And it looks like that toe's getting better and Francisco Lindor is looking better. And on Francisco Lindor jersey night, Francisco Lindor hits a home run to blow those doors open.
Man, I love seeing all the flags here at Citi Field. We had Juan Soto, Dominican Republic jersey night. He homered on that night. Lindor homers on his jersey night. Soto, like I just mentioned, the big night on his regular jersey night. So love to see it. Keep bringing the flags. Keep bringing the pride. Citi Field's a party, man. We talked about that the second we got the news that Juan Soto was joining this team. It is awesome to be a part of, and it's all because the Mets fans. And the number 2 moment, the Mets fans always turn up for this moment. Whenever Edwin Diaz comes through those bullpen gates, it is a party here at Citi Field, and he was lights out in both games 2 and 3 of this 3-game series, but particularly in game 3, nailing down his 18th save of the season, working on back-to-back days, no problem, getting a little help from Luis Torrens on the caught stealing, and then getting that final out. But Edwin Diaz is lights out, dominant, continues to cruise each and every time he comes in the game. It's must-watch stuff. Edwin Diaz, once again, after we remember the heroic performance against the Brewers in Game 3, pitching 2 innings in that Game 3, gets done against Milwaukee here again on Thursday night. What's number 1, Vito?
Well, before I get to number 1, I want to give him real quick. You got to give a shout out to Edwin Diaz because also it was tough because Game 2, 4-out save to get 2 saves in a row, really lock things down against the Brewers. And just I know John already mentioned Luis Torrens up, but I just have to double down on what a perfect tag that was. I mean, like, not only is the timing perfect, but throwing it in the exact spot down on almost on the ground to just get the jersey at the last possible second.
Second time Lindor's done that this year.
Yes.
Did it in Arizona.
Yes.
In the 9th inning.
Yeah, right.
After Edwin put a runner on base. Second time. Incredible tag, ball, glove, base runner, all arriving at the same time. Lindor, one of the best in the game. Everyone talks about Javi Baez, El Mago. I think Lindor is the best tag applier in baseball.
I remember that last one because I'm pretty sure that's the one where Luis Torrens, after he did it, did a little like flip with his catcher's mask. I just remember that because I think that's the clip I made. But number 1 moment, Mets Brewers, Brandon Nimmo, grand slam, Game 2. We've said the bats were going to get hot. We've said the offense was going to show up. Oh, the Mets aren't scoring in runners in scoring position. Oh, the Mets aren't winning games. Let's solve both of those problems with Brandon Nimmo, who Sunday in front of those 35 lovely people at PC Richard, we both said Brandon Nimmo is getting hot. Brandon Nimmo is hitting the ball hard. Brandon Nimmo is breaking through. You're going to see that more and more. Brandon Nimmo shows up.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob Mizorowski, through his first 4 or 5 starts, had allowed just 2 earned runs on the 1 swing right there. Brandon Nimmo drives in 4 runs, his 3rd career grand slam, swinging at the first pitch. I said it here when you were out. League average batting average on the first pitch of plate appearances is 340. On all their pitches, 239. So people think swinging at the first pitch is a bad thing. It is not a bad thing. We've seen Brandon get more aggressive throughout his career. He now has 17 home runs after his solo shot on Thursday night. He is well on pace to break his career high for home runs. Set it in spring training. 30 home run season incoming for Brandon Nimmo. For him to drive that ball out of the yard again, Mendy making the move, putting Nimmo 1, Lindor 2. But Vito, it was the bottom of the lineup that got the job done. I want to shout out Ronnie Mauricio, who had not 1 but 2 walks in Game 2 of Wednesday's doubleheader, including in that inning, Hayden Sanger with the infield single off the glove of Mizorowski, and it turned the lineup over. Those guys got on. Nimmo made the Brewers pay, and then, of course, Lindor follows it up, did the Lindor lean. You knew it was gone right off the bat. And once you see the Lindor lean, it's too late. Those guys go back-to-back, and right there, it was the 1-2 in the lineup, paying dividends for Mendy off the bat. But Brandon Nimmo, man, that was a great moment. That was a big sigh of relief for the guys in the dugout, I am sure, to finally, like you mentioned, overcome the RISP troubles the Mets have experienced, and we know it's going to come. I almost like, this is going to sound crazy. I say crazy things sometimes. I almost like the fact that the Mets have struggled with risk because we know that they are going to regress to the mean in a positive way. They're not going to stay that bad over the course of time. There are too many talented hitters on that ball club for that to be the case. So when they do bounce back, which they are going to, it's going to be a beautiful second half bounce back. Sky's the limit for this Mets offense, really is.
Yeah, and you know what? There's so many moments from this series that we didn't even mention because we do a top 5 and you got to whittle it down. But just to mention some other things. I mean, one, a big congratulations to Blade Tidwell.
Our guy.
Blade Tidwell, a guy that we met in 2023 at those bleachers where we met so many guys who were starting to debut over the last year. Guys that we have met. We met Blade Tidwell in a T-shirt, wearing glasses, doing the interview on a bench.
He was about 30 pounds lighter than he is today.
Dude, I was looking at a picture of him.
Every time we see him, every time he is like publicly seen, he just looks older and older and more mature.
And more ripped. Like,
more
he's got like
diesel
a
and
square
chiseled.
a square jacked head now on like just a brolic body. And like, I'm just thinking about like, oh, we met him and he was like, kind of like baby fat. Like, just like a completely different human being.
He was a young man.
But a big shout out to not only making his Citi Field debut, but getting that first Major League W. An awesome moment for somebody who's going to be an important part of this Mets team.
He did a great job getting the Mets into the, I think it was the 6th inning. I know he kind of started to, the wheels came off a little bit there as he went second time through. I think he learned a lesson in that Brian Reynolds plate appearance in Pittsburgh back on Friday, I think it was, where he hung him a slider. These are all learning moments. I mean, he's going and he's facing Major League hitters who have some of these guys years and years of experience, and Blade Tidwell has made just a handful of Major League appearances. Guy throws 99.
Yeah.
So that'll play in the show. Like, that'll play. It's what else can you do in the big leagues?
Yeah.
So is the changeup going to be developed? Is it going to be the slider, the cutter? And he threw 4 different pitches on Wednesday night. I keep getting the days confused.
And out of the bullpen, which I want to say is really impressive for him to be able to have success in that spot, because even if it is coming out in the second inning and having a little more of an idea of where he's going to be, it's still so different from what he's used to.
It is. I think for him, the bullpen is probably the key to making an impact on the Major League team right now, especially as guys start to come back. Sean Manaea made his rehab start for AA Binghamton on Wednesday. We'll see if his next outing is for the Mets. Kodai Senga is going to get ramped up here pretty soon.
He's been throwing, yeah.
So, there are going to be guys returning, reinforcements, which is great. But Blade Tidwell, like I said, coming out of the bullpen, pumping 99. The Mets have guys at AAA. We know about Sproat. We know about McClain. We know about a guy like Dom Hamill. We know Justin Hagenman's a guy the Mets like. He got recalled before Thursday's game. The Mets turned to Blade Tidwell. They turned to him back on May 4th in St. Louis. They turned to him back in Philadelphia, the night of a must-win game, by the way, on Saturday. And they turned to him on Thursday or Wednesday, and you texted me after the game. You made a different point, which was a great point. But who would have thought that Jacob Misirovsky against Blade Tidwell, or not Blade Tidwell starting the game, but you knew he'd be the bulk guy.
Yeah.
That Misirovsky would suffer his first career loss in that game, and Tidwell would pick up his first career win. That's not what the prognosticators probably thought was going to happen, but baseball is a funny game. Life's a funny thing.
Yeah.
And it all worked out, but Blade did a great job, really saved the bullpen. The Mets got into the back end of that bullpen, helped bridge the gap exactly how Mendy wanted to. Great job by Blade Tidwell. And then on Thursday night, this is great. This is massive. David Peterson, after 2 kind of rough starts, and I started to feel kind of guilty for some of that. A little bit.
How many home runs has Clay Holmes given up since you said to Clay Holmes he doesn't give up home runs?
Oh, I've done a lot of damage. Done a lot of damage. Some good, a lot of damage. But no, he bounced back incredibly well. And Pat Murphy, the Brewer manager, I got a chance to meet Pat Murphy last September.
Did he say anything funny to you while you were there?
Hilarious. Guy is a riot. Like, they lost Craig Counsell. The Cubs stole him. Division rival steals him, pays him a bunch of money. The Brewers couldn't have had a better plan B after Counsell left. Murphy's the man, I got to say. We still think Mendy should have been the 2024 NL Manager of the Year. But Pat Murphy's awesome. And you know that this Brewer team came into Citi Field after how things ended for their season in 2024. You know Pat Murphy on that team was looking for a little bit of revenge. Now, obviously, there's a regular season games in, first 3 days of July. So it's not quite the same stakes as 9th inning of Game 3, winner take all game. But the Brewers wanted to win,
of course,
those games. And David Peterson is the man who pitched the Mets into the playoffs on what should have been the last game of the regular season, and then obviously gets the last 3 outs of Game 3. David Peterson takes the ball tonight, pitches into the 7th inning once again, bounces back, looks like the David Peterson that we all know and love. It was a bad day to be a Worm once again. Multiple double plays, was in control, gets into the 7th inning, couldn't quite complete 7, but a great outing by our guy, David Peterson, who was back on track And we'll make one more start before the All-Star break. I believe it'll be in KC. The Mets go to Baltimore, and then KC after the Yankees. Oh, it'll be in Baltimore. It'll be in Baltimore, I believe. We should go to Baltimore.
I wanted to.
I'm busy. I can't go.
I was going to bring it up to you that I wanted to go, and then
something happened. You have a baby, so.
Well, no, not only
that's not it.
No, it is, but we have literally an appointment on one of the days that I can't miss. But I literally was going to hit you up and say, hey, like
Tommy's going.
Really?
The whole AMF team's going. Yeah, they're taking the train down. I think it's crazy. They're coming and going. Or going and coming, whichever one.
Same day, like one day.
Yeah,
like,
the day game.
But dude, the train is a great way to get to
only
that
like 2
area.
hours. Apparently.
Yeah, dude, because that's the bullet. Not the bullet train, but that's
4.
it's the Excella.
I thought it was like a 4-hour. The drive is 4. I guess the train's quicker.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, yo, I got a lot of miles on my car that I can use.
What do you think about driving or flying to Boston? What are your thoughts on the concept of flying to Boston?
All right, I don't care what people do. I'm
just asking. You think it's stupid?
I think if it depends on like. I think it's easier to just drive, but here's the thing: is somebody paying for it for you?
Not when your back hurts.
If it's not on your dime, and whatever, then like screw it. Just like then take the flight. Why not? Like why deal with flying why deal with driving when you could just do that? Like me and my wife back in 2021, I flew to DC. You know why? It was cheap. I got like $100 round trip tickets each.
Convenient.
And it was a 50-minute flight instead of like taking the train or taking the bus, and like we got there quick.
The issue with the train is you got to get to Penn Station. You got to schlep your stuff through Penn Station. I have a whole.
You're
suitcase.
paying for the Uber there because you're probably gonna Uber to Penn, even though it's easy to take the train. You're probably gonna Uber.
I'm not trying to schlep a bunch of suitcases on the train. All right, I just want to get your opinion on it.
No, look, I would love to sit here and disagree with you and be like that's stupid, but like, dude, if it's not on your dime, then just take the flight. Also, I'm a new driver, so it's like I'm a bad.
No, that's true. Anyway, full circle because Dave Peterson made his first career start in Boston. Anyway, go on.
Another person I want to shout out, Ryan Stanek. Ryan Stanek, just the full-on Lion Ryan, just coming back with the Gabe texted me right away. Was like, I love Lion the Ryan, like just stellar performances with Ryan Stanek. It's the guy that we've come to know and love. When Ryan Stanek's on, this bullpen is it's
deeper. It's longer.
The bullpen is a lot deeper, and you're getting a lot of refuge to that. Look, what we've seen from this Mets bullpen, when this Mets bullpen is the best, is when guys are able to step up when some guys are struggling. Right now, Reed Garrett's going through a rough patch. Ryan Stanek being able to step in and help hold things down while Reed Garrett is figuring things back out, that's going to help because when Ryan Stanek was struggling in the beginning of the year, that's where Reed Garrett was stepping up and taking up those big spots. Daniel Nunez just went down. We need guys to step up right now and take the bull by the horns and just really lock things down. Ryan Stanek looks incredible right now against good teams.
Yeah, I'm also excited to see Rico Garcia, who got called up by the Mets for the game on Thursday. Rico Garcia, born in Hawaii.
Yes.
The Mets have a rich history of Hawaiian players, as we know. Sid Fernandez, Benny Agbayani, of course. Am I forgetting anybody?
Sid Fernandez, Benny Agbayani, Ron Darling.
Ron Darling, of course, yes.
I think just
yep, and now Rico. But Rico Garcia led the International League in saves last year. So excited to see what Rico Garcia can bring to the table. And the Mets have some more guys down in the minor leagues. Dylan Ross, who we mentioned at PC Richard, continues to blow guys away, throws 100, wipeout splitter, nasty stuff. Dom Hamill continues to have a good season for Syracuse. And Julian Merriweather, who pitched for the Blue Jays this year, I believe, pitched for the Cubs this year, pitched for the Blue Jays a couple years ago. A guy that also brings it. The Mets have some flamethrowers that they can turn to. Would not be surprised because of the game, the constant up and down we see. And you know, when you play as many games in as few of days as the Mets have played, and you have starters going 5, and you really need to piece it together with the bullpen, that's when you guys have guys coming up and down. But David Stearns and company have done a great job stockpiling AAA and having options continuously coming up and doing a good job. You remember Justin Garza against the Nationals back on, I think it was June 11th, the Jeff McNeil walk-off game. Justin Garza came in that game, got some big outs. So the Mets in the cumulative, when you think about all the guys we've seen, the Garzas of the world, a guy like Rico Garcia, who I'm sure will factor in at some point sooner than later, Justin Hageman, guys like that who are not necessarily on the radar, I think if you put them all together, the ERA is just over 3. Like, that's a pretty successful job by the Mets front office, especially with injuries, especially with, you know, bullpen usage concerns and all these other things that teams have to balance. And, you know, like we said, the Mets have had a pretty daunting schedule with just not many days off in the last, it seems like 2 months at this point. Great job by the Mets front office staff, but you know, we knew we talked about it with you know, when he came on board and after the season ended last year, we talked about David Stearns and his calling card. And it's really, finding the diamonds in the rough and the extra 2%, winning at the margins. And that's what David Stearns, that's what separates him from the rest of his peers. So a great series, a great 3-game series. And boy, oh boy, is this place going to be a madhouse this weekend. I cannot wait. I am just, I don't want to use the word angry, but I'm disappointed that we don't have a night game here.
Yeah, we talked about this in the last episode.
But that's how you know I'm actually upset that I'm bringing it up again.
I know. Look, there's benefits for the worker, but it does suck that.
I mean, we're screwed anyway.
It does
be midnight.
Well, actually, I was gonna say this was pretty cool because this game was delayed, but this game still ended like decently early.
Quick game.
Ended at like 10.
Fireworks were done by like 10:40.
I know. I was literally like, wow, this game ended at a normal time for a game, even almost an early time for a game, even with the delay. So that was pretty sick. But yeah, I mean, look, does it suck? There's not going to be, the Yankees aren't going to be able to see the thing they stole at night with the light show with the stand clear the closing doors.
It's unreal. It's unreal.
Maybe it's good that
unreal.
It's not at night because they won't be able to steal more stuff. So it actually might be a benefit. But John, before we get out of here, Motoki, would you like to come on the podcast for a second? All right, so we have a guest here today. Motoki is here from Japan.
Yeah,
sit
down,
right there. Motoki is here from Japan. Motoki is part of a group of Mets fans who live all over different parts of Japan, love the Mets. They're hitting each other up every morning, watching games. And Motoki, get the mic in front of yourself. And Motoki has been here for today. He came into another game. He's coming on Saturday, and he's had a blast. Now, Motoki, show your hat. Who signed it?
This is a Mendoza autograph. Yeah.
He got Francisco Lindor's autographed on his first day out here. How sick is that?
Yeah, it's really great and to get and I feel that it's really amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, that's the kind of guy Francisco Lindor is. What are your impressions of Citi Field and being at a Mets game? How much fun have you had getting to take it all in?
Okay. I just feel that it's. So usually I stay in Toronto and I usually watch the Blue Jays game and it's technically different. The Rogers Center is like the cabana on a field and but when I came the City Field is really different and it's I can feel some outside and we can see now some big apple and when Mets sorry the Mets batter Mets player hits a home run and yeah yesterday I saw now some home run like the Nimmo and Lindor
back to back.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you guys. Motoki got to see a pretty cool freaking moment right there.
Yeah.
And then who'd you meet in this room?
Who did you meet?
Who'd you meet in this room?
Oh, the Korean from now.
Steve Gelbs.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
He was pumped up, dude. I've never seen, he was pumped up to meet Steve Gelbs. Motoki's had a trip. Autograph from Francisco Lindor, meet Steve Gelbs, sees the Mets win.
Twice. 2 Met victories.
And he gets to see Brandon Nimmo Grand Slam. I mean, if you're coming to some Mets games, that's like a highlight reel of events you can see.
Yeah, I really, I can't understand. I'm just staying in a dream and.
All right, well.
Yeah, it's like that.
Well, PSA to the Mets. You said you're coming on Saturday for the Subway Series?
Oh, yeah, I will go there. And
all right, well, for you, just make sure those Yankee, keep your head on a swivel with those Yankee fans. They're a different crowd. So, you got to make sure, well, we can handle them, but just a heads up that they different type. But to our 26 guys in the clubhouse, we got to make it 3-0. I mean, you can't see a loss. You got to keep a perfect record, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that the last season at the City Field I saw that some fight in with our Yankees fan at the City Field and also I heard that from him and he saw some fights with our Yankees and yeah. Anyway, I sorry, I will take care of now Yankees fan.
Love it. So 3-0.
Motoki was here with Mets Junior 69, who going to stay off camera because he likes to keep anonymous. But Motoki, dude, thank you so much for coming out. We're glad you had a good time at these games.
Yeah, of course.
Let's go Mets, baby.
Yeah,
go,
let's
Mets.
go, Mets.
And guys, thank you so much for listening. Remember, like, review, subscribe, do all those things. Excited for the Subway Series this weekend. But before we get out of here, we talked about PC Richard before. We're going to talk about PC Richard again because it's not only a company we work with, it's a company we both believe in, and it's a company we've both bought plenty of TVs and appliances throughout our lives, which we got to tell Mr. Richard himself, which felt bizarre.
Yeah, and that is because they have the absolute best staff, the friendliest, the most knowledgeable staff, and they have the guaranteed lowest prices. Am I going to the middle or I don't know. Which
Doesn't
one it is.
matter. All three cameras are running.
Yeah, but you want cameras, you can get them. You want TVs, mattresses, appliances, whatever it might be. Video game systems. I still need my new AirPods. I am at my wit's end with my old AirPods, so I'm actually going to go to PC Richard & Son and get myself, that one says Ty Levine. Thank you, Ty. I'm going to go get myself my new AirPods, and like I said, the absolute lowest prices. It is a pleasure to shop at PC Richard & Son. You guys got to do it, and they have been doing it for longer than anybody in the game. We saw firsthand. Since 1909, we saw some incredible pictures of the original store in Bensonhurst, some cool vests that the employees wore. PC Richard & Son.
Race cars. They raced cars.
My guy, Mr. Richard, used to race down in Englishtown by where I'm from, so really, really cool stuff. But
also, just want to shout out the delivery thing that they mentioned to us, that when they deliver appliances, they don't just drop it off at your door.
no, they're installing that bad boy. They're bringing it in. Like you said, the cord's already plugged in, making it as easy as possible for you guys, the customer, who it is all about. And this weekend, it's all about the Mets, baby. It's all about the Mets, baby.
All about the Mets. Let's go, Mets. Subway Series at Citi Field.
Hey, you know what? Sorry. It's a 21-year anniversary. I think the last time the Mets and Yankees played in Queens, July 4th weekend, was 2004. And that was when Richard Hidalgo went on his run. Richard Hidalgo still holds the longest home run streak in Mets history. Game 1, Kaz Matsui and Hidalgo combined for 5 hits, couple homers against Mike Mussina on a WB11 game. Flashback, throwback.
WB.
Saturday, Shane Spencer had a walk-off infield single against Tanyan Sturts, who flipped one a little bit high over the head of Jorge Posada. And Sunday, Ty Wigington, Richard Hidalgo, they all combined for a big victory on Sunday, July 4th, I believe that was the finale. So just trying to summon some vibes. Just saying. And Shea Stadium was electric.
If you want to summon vibes, man, summon vibes from last year's Subway Series, because I was getting memories of that today, because when the rain delay started, the social booth I was sitting in was feeling lit. Everybody was having a good time, and I was getting flashbacks to last year when rain delays would. No, man, we're at work. Nobody's drinking at work. That's a crazy thing to say. But
just asking,
guys, we will see you all this weekend. John will be here all weekend. I'll be here Saturday and Sunday. I am not going to be here Saturday because me and my wife bought our daughter a 4th of July outfit, and we gotta just have her enjoy her first 4th of July. But I'll be here Saturday. I'll be here Sunday. John will be here all weekend. We hope to see you guys at the ballpark. Thank you guys for listening. Please go give us a review. Let's go Mets, and thank you to PC Richard.